All right, morning, folks. This is a re-recording session of yesterday's episode of Catching Up on the Causeway. Had some technical issues, and I cannot find the video anywhere on my phone where I'd recorded the device. I started yesterday's video talking about how much difficulty I'm having getting the videos uploaded to YouTube. I've tried doing it on my phone. I've tried doing it on my phone connected to Wi-Fi. I've tried doing it on my phone connected to 5G, to LTE. Doesn't matter. I've tried, you know, moving the video from my phone to my laptop to upload it via the YouTube Studio app, and it has just been issue after issue, buffering, getting stuck, not uploading the video all the way. There's basically three processes when you load the video up. You got to upload the standard definition version, and then it up-renders to 4K, and then it goes through and it does a copyright check, and I've had it get hung up in every one of those processes, and on every platform. So, pretty frustrating experience, I guess. But maybe that's just the life of a content creator. I don't know. Time will tell. Maybe I'll figure out that I'm doing something wrong at some point. But yesterday was the first day that we've had lost footage. I hear people talking about having those issues in some of the videos and stuff that I watch, and I've always just kind of been like, I wonder what could have possibly happened that they lost audio and didn't realize it. As I check to see whether or not my audio is working here, I think it is. So got through that, and so here we are. We'll call this one "Catching Up in the Kitchen" instead of "Catching Up on the Causeway." And might be. I ended up getting the video from Monday uploaded Tuesday morning. So here I was thinking that y'all were going to get two for Tuesday. Now it's looking like you might get two for Wednesday, which isn't nearly as catchy, but it is what it is. So talked a little bit yesterday about what all I did. We had a check-in yesterday afternoon in the back house studio there. Had the you know did a quality check. Didn't have to do a cleaning here right before this check-in. It had been about 10 days, 11 days, something like that. We're just kind of right on the edge of when we do end up going in and doing a spot cleaning. Generally, we fade. The cleaning staff that we have marks the unit as clean as soon as they get done with the clean after somebody checks out, and then our system basically fades the status from clean to dirty over 14 days. Um, After that cleaning has been marked as completed in the unit ready for a check-in. And that's just so that, it kind of reminds us that, hey, look, you better go check this unit to see that it is ready for guests. We'll go and check to see if there's any critters, bugs or whatever dead, um, dusty, uh, that the air conditioner is working, etc. Um, and one of the things that I kind of led into there yesterday, and forgive me for I'm trying to recreate what all I talked about, and so I might be a little bit um, less smooth, or it's not going to be as much of a flow because there's going to be a set thing. But talked a little bit about how we've gotten set up with our lock company. We use Lynx, Lynx .co, is who we use, the software company for guest access. They've figured out how to manage um, smart locks, and getting the codes for guests onto the locks themselves at the time that they're scheduled to check in, um, and then deactivating them when it's time to check out. And we actually use um, Z-Wave technology for most of our locks. In my experience, the Z-Wave has been more reliable in terms of battery life. That I haven't used any um, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth enabled locks, um, but based on the feedback that I've seen from other people on, Reddit or, internet forums or whatever the case may be, everybody talks about how, they're basically getting 3 to 6 months, whereas we're getting close to a year out of, four double A batteries um, on our locks. So really happy with the battery life overall, and the Bluetooth, all the Bluetooth enabled locks that I've seen have basically recommended that you got to have the wireless access point, within 10 feet of the lock itself, and and in small condos and stuff where maybe it's 2 bedroom 2 bath condo where you've got some laundry, a laundry area right in the entryway door, that might be feasible, but in most cases, I would venture to guess, 10 feet from the lock is just not really reasonable. In my mind, the house that we've got there in Perdido Key, family house, uh, has got a unfinished lower level entryway, kind of shotgun style front door and a back door, separated by about 30 feet, I'll call it. So we'd be looking at two access points. And I don't know what kind of access point it would be, but you undoubtedly have to find somewhere to plug it in. And, there's no plugs, convenient there. And if you plug something in, it's going to be sitting down on the floor because there's no shelving. So anyway, it's just a messy solution to try to do Bluetooth in my opinion. Um, and Wi-Fi I've heard is just constantly draining the batteries, for similar reasons, even though the range might not be an issue. So we've been happy with the Z-Wave stuff. We do have to put in some repeaters, smart switches basically, that will hold the signal from the hub with the guest code info. But once we figured out, that was basically required and how to place that stuff, it's been pretty good um, there. Uh, but one of the beauties of that software, and one of the things I'm really excited about, for our owners, is that company's figured out how to integrate the codes and access times with thermostats. So now we have the ability to run the thermostat up and down, uh, based off of our check-in times. And so basically, we've got three settings. We've got a vacant setting, um, that kicks on, um, once the uh, once the guest checks out. It's got a delay for the cleaning crew so that they're not miserable when they're cleaning up and all that kind of stuff. But then from there, it goes into vacant mode, and then it starts searching the calendar for the next check-in. And so then it's got a check-in setting, which we run the temp down, to 70, 69 degrees, whatever, so that it's cool right when the guests arrive. And then at the scheduled check-in time, it goes back to, your standard occupancy temperature, which, depending on, you know, how old the unit is, how efficient it is, et cetera, might be 70 to 72 degrees or something like that. In the past, we've been doing all that stuff manually, and what ends up happening is, uh, and some of the solutions we've seen even only offer this capability is, they run the temp down at the time that check-in is scheduled. And so what ends up happening is you spend 4 hours uncomfortable and kind of hot and muggy, in our, summertime, especially in our summertime temperatures, down at the beach area, uh, waiting for the air conditioner. And, like I said, if you got an old unit, that might be 4 hours. And once the sun goes down, before you get comfortable. And so you really don't want guests, um, sitting uncomfortable in their first 4 hours of the booking. That's not a way to get, off on a good foot. We do a lot of things in terms of um, making the unit ready. We'll usually put in, a couple waters, some Cokes, Diet Coke, whatever, in the refrigerator so that those are there and ready for them when they check in. So, that's not going to outrun, you know, being hot for 4 hours at your new vacation destination. So, really excited about that integration. We had some issue with the reason we didn't have it going any sooner than this was we've got a super unit set up at that house there in Perdido Key, where basically we've got two floors. We've got a low floor and an upper floor, and on occasion we'll rent the lower floor only. Um, and so uh, what was happening with the software when we initially set it up is it couldn't tell whether or not we had a lower floor booking or an upper floor booking. It would get vacant signals from the upper floor and send them down to the lower floor, even though we had people, scheduled to check in. And so we had to deactivate it for a while, but they've worked it out now where where you can separate, super units is what they call them. So really excited to have that functionality back up and running here. In the future for guests. That's going to cut down on utilities and stuff. So I'll wrap it up a little bit. What I'm going to talk about here in the next episode. I spent a little bit of time yesterday building out our listing on. I think the website is Comparent. That's how you pronounce it, anyways. It's one word: Comparent. I don't think it's Comparent. I'll check on that and let y'all know. Um, where you can find us. But basically, Ventori, who we're using for the cold email marketing currently, has built an aggregator of property management companies. It's kind of like a Yellow Pages for short term rental vacation owners. And so went through some good exercises. They've got a frequently asked questions section that they've added since I created my profile back in November. That kind of just goes through and details how we handle um, some of our operations so that people who are looking in the market for a new property manager can kind of compare services straight out of the gate without having to commit to getting on a sales call and all that other kind of stuff. I think uh, the search for a new property manager is an overwhelming task in general. And so the more information you can get in front of people um, without requiring a bunch of commitment from them, the better. And so I think that's what they're trying to do there. They've got some paid tiers for increasing your ranking and all that kind of stuff. We're not ready to have any more money going out the door for that kind of stuff at this time. But at least wanted to make sure that we got the profile optimized as best we could. Um, Talk a little bit more on the way over to Mobile about one of the books I'm reading, Book Yourself Solid. I'm pretty sure it's by Michael Porter. uh, some of the exercises that I'm working through with them is talking about building your target client and stuff. And so the frequently asked questions section that I had to do for Ventori and Comparent um, was very similar to what I'm doing in the Book Yourself Solid exercises. So that'll be good to talk y'all through a little bit of that, some of the stuff I'm learning doing that, and we'll kind of go from there. Y'all have a happy morning, and I think I'll probably catch up with you this afternoon, headed back for the normal venue for catching up on the Causeway. We'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks.